Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let me know how you feel about this setup. I'm experimenting with working in my room because we're getting a new roommate, so I'm not sure I'll be able to film in the living room every single time I want to. Today we are going to do a book review on the first Brandon Sanderson novel that I have ever read, and that is WARBREAKER. So if you're excited about this book review, make sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe. That helps me out the most. And let's get started. So I think I'm just gonna keep this as a non-spoiler review right now. I'd really like to delve into a lot more, but I need some time to kind of process because I absolutely loved this book. I just have to say that I have been consistently reading amazing book after amazing book so far this year, which bless, except for one book noticeably. Yeah, no, WARBREAKER blew me out of the water. It is exactly the kind of writing that I'm into. It's fantasy in just all the best ways, just an insane world, very unique magic system, really cool, interesting characters. I think the best part was that I could not predict where the story was going at all. Every step and twist and turn of the way kind of just left me so anxious to read more. This was one of those reads where it's like, oh, especially when I got to like the last 150 pages, I just did not want to stop reading. I was like, I have to find out what's going on. There's definitely some big mystery element throughout it, which is really fun. I love a good like mystery thriller, and it has that vibe, although that's not the only thing it's going for. Let's start at the beginning. What is WARBREAKER? It is a dope ass standalone book by Brandon Sanderson, which I can't believe it's a standalone. So I didn't want to leave this world. I really need all of you to read WARBREAKER so we can talk about it. If any of you are artists, devote some time to drawing this like world and these characters. There is a significant lack of fan art out there, and this was a world where it's like, I want paintings. I want like a graphic novel. Oh, that'd be incredible. Okay, so this is a world where they have this power called a breath, and it draws off of color, and it also is kind of like a part of your soul, although not entirely. The more breaths that you gather, because people can sell their breaths, they can give their breaths to you, and the more breaths that you have, the more special abilities you are able to do. So there's like different heightenings that they call it, different levels that you can reach depending on the amount of breaths that you hold within your body. So you get to a certain heightening and colors are brighter, you can detect perfect pitch in a song, but you can also use breaths to awaken objects. So you can awaken a piece of fabric and that object will kind of come alive and do certain tasks for you. But even that is complicated. It's a complicated magic system, although it didn't feel complicated when I was reading it. The way he doles out this type of information was very easy to absorb. I'm kind of realizing now, trying to talk about it, how complex it actually is. But this is a world where there is one major city called, what the heck are you called? Hollindren. So there's a major city of Hollindren, and this is like the most powerful city in the world. And it's just this explosion of color and opulence and gaudy people and buildings, just huge structures, an explosion of color even with the poor, and a nearby city, kind of a broken off territory but still under their rule, is the city of Idris, which is the opposite, and they have a different religion and they are very strict. Like, they think awakening things is a sin. They think having more than one breath, because everybody alive starts off with one, and so if you find more, gather more of it, that is also a sin. And they are very like just no color. Everyone has to wear gray, a very plain place to live, but they do it in retaliation of Hollindren. Hollindren has this god king along with a bunch of other different gods, although they kind of are gods, kind of aren't. That's a whole thing in and of itself. But as part of a treaty, Idris is supposed to send their eldest daughter to marry the God King. And as kind of a last second maneuver, the Idris King sends his younger daughter instead. And she's free spirit, never really paid attention to anything because she didn't have to, because she wasn't the eldest sister. But now she's the one being sent off to marry this God King that everybody is just so terrified of, who is just insanely powerful, brutal, just a force to be reckoned with, and she has to go marry him and conceive a child with him and produce an heir. The eldest sister that was supposed to go runs away to save her sister, so the free spirit that gets sent off instead is Ciri, and the one that goes after her is Viviana. And for viewpoints, you mostly jump between those two sisters, and then one of the gods, though not the God King, one of the lesser gods, they're called the Returned, named Lightsong the Bold. Whew, that's a trip. The god structure is insanely interesting. How they live their lives, just these larger than life beings, how all of their plots between Ciri and the God King, Lightsong and the court, Viviana and these mercenaries she meets down in the city, and she has to hide the fact that she's a princess, and how all these plots intermingle with each other, and what the ultimate crisis is, which is that Idris, which is a very small nation, and Hollindren, which is this really massive one, are like on the brink of war, and there's just this panic between all the characters very desperately not wanting to go to war, and then all the different routes they take to kind of achieve or not achieve that goal. And it is fascinating. I just cannot recommend this book enough. Every friend that I have talked to about it, I've been like, yeah, so when are you gonna read it so we can talk about it? It is fun, it is fast paced, it was so easy to get into, such creative world building. His writing, I am so interested in reading more of his stuff. I have been listening to his writing lecture series. I'll link the playlist down below, but I've literally just been going through and listening to his 2016, 2015, 2014 writing lecture series. You can tell he really cares about his craft. He has such a great way of breaking down really complex ideas like plot and magic systems and world building and character, and granted what he thinks makes each one of those things good and compelling and interesting. This book is fantastic. There were points where my jaw dropped and I actually gasped out loud. Could not predict where the story was going, and it was just so fun. If you have read any Brandon Sanderson, definitely let me know what next book of his or series I should read. Granted, my to be read list is insanely long right now, but I'm trying. I want to work through it. And like I said, I definitely want to do a longer, more in-depth spoiler review of this book, because there is so much I have to say about it, but I wanted to take some time to go on Reddit. Just so you know, I'm definitely going to leave a link below for Book Depository, which does worldwide free shipping with books, and if you use that link, it gives me a really small commission, and that helps me out a lot, as well as liking this video and subscribing if you haven't already. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. It means the world that you take the time to watch and comment and engage with my content, and I hope that I'm putting out the kind of stuff that is really interesting and entertaining to you guys. So thank you so much. It means the world to me, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.